So, you've probably heard the saying, nobody understands quantum physics. Richard Feynman said that, and it's quite the famous quote. But here's the thing, it's not entirely true. Alright, I get it, quantum mechanics sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie. Even Niels Bohr said those who are not shocked when they first come across quantum mechanics cannot possibly have understood it. And Roger Penrose adds, quantum mechanics makes absolutely no sense. But does that mean we're all just poking around in the dark? Not really. Let's talk about the famous Schrodinger's cat experiment. Erwin Schrödinger said, "I do not like it, and I am sorry I ever had anything to do with it." But this thought experiment was pivotal in illustrating the strange nature of quantum mechanics. It's a bit mind-bending, sure, but it's also a key to deeper understanding. And here's the kicker. We don't need to fully understand every single nuance to make incredible strides. It's like driving a car. You don't need to understand the intricacies of the internal combustion engine to get from point A to point B. You just need to know how to drive. Quantum physics is almost always taught chronologically. Indeed, I just did that in the previous chapter. Though we didn't need to make it that far for the purpose of introducing quantum computers, the standard tale of quantum physics usually crescendos with John Bell's work on spooky entanglement in the 1960s. Today, as the story goes, we are on the cusp of the yet-to-be-written second quantum revolution. Along the way, the standard story tells of a piece of great machinery that was simultaneously being created next to quantum physics called quantum mechanics, which allowed graduate students to blindly turn the mathematical crank to make predictions about newer and more extreme experiments. It is often said that generations of physicists would shut up and calculate to earn their degrees and professorships to eventually repeat the program again with the next cohort. The wild horse of quantum physics had apparently been stabled, but not tamed. When Richard Feynman made the casual remark about understanding, he was not only opening his now famous lecture on quantum physics, he was inadvertently venturing into the realm of philosophy, which he famously derided. In epistemology, the study of knowledge itself, understanding is not just a mechanical mastery, but a rich concept that probes the underlying meaning and connection between ideas. This brand of philosophy seeks to clarify the very nature of knowing and being. As you might have expected from such a grandiose task, there's more disagreement than agreement amongst philosophers on even the definition of the word. On the other hand, we all have some intuitive notion of understanding. In the everyday world, understanding might be likened to knowing how to ride a bike, but in physics, it's about grasping the forces that make the bike move. You might not know the physics behind balance and motion, but you come to understand how to ride it through feel and experience. When we talk about physicists' understanding, we're stepping into a workshop where the universe's machinery is laid bare. A physicist strives to see the gears and levers behind phenomena, aiming for an intuitive grasp of why things happen as they do. This is not merely knowing the equations, but being able to feel them, like instinctively leaning into a turn. However, in the realm of quantum physics, the rules of the game seem to change. The intuitive mechanics known in classical physics fade, and in their place are abstract mathematical objects and formulas. You can follow them, learn them, even use them, but a concrete mechanical understanding of them appears impossible. Quantum physics is a branch of science that describes highly isolated systems, things that don't interact randomly with other stuff around them. Traditionally, these are small, like atoms, but now we can engineer artificial systems under high isolation. Anything that is extremely isolated requires quantum physics to be described accurately. The information such things encode is quantum information. If you attempt to use classical physics or classical information to make predictions or statements about such things, you may end up being very wrong. Quantum physics does not tell us what reality lies beyond our experience. It only tells us that, whatever it is, reality is nothing like the mechanical worldview we have come to take for granted in realms where it works. Thus, if understanding demands such an explanation of the world, displaying the causes and effects that make it go, indeed no one yet has it. But this myth is not about philosophy because this is a book about technology. So we will stick to the everyday use of words. That is, using a tool is exactly how you come to understand how it works. Generally, people stop demanding explanations of things they are familiar with. We will eventually become so familiar with quantum technology that understanding will be a word reserved for one's ability to successfully navigate its use. In much the same way that my inability to understand the point of TikTok does not stand in the way of it being a successful app, our lack of understanding quantum physics does not stand in the way of building quantum computers. If Feynman were alive today, I think he'd contextualize this quote better. He might say, "Quantum mechanics cannot be understood using classical physics and information. It must be understood in the language of quantum information." Or perhaps he'd be pithier and say, "Nobody speaks quantum information." Indeed, nearing the end of his career, he said, "Nature isn't classical, damn it, and if you want to make a simulation of nature, you'd better make it quantum mechanical. And by golly, it's a wonderful problem because it doesn't look so easy." The workshop he said this at in 1981 is often considered the birthplace of quantum information and computation. You're already using quantum technology. Don't think that all this hype about quantum technology is merely going to lead to a societal revolution, because it already has. But first, there is something important to keep in mind. While our precision engineering and control at the microscopic scale was a continuous process of improvement, there is still a clear distinction between first-generation quantum technologies, which you will learn about in this chapter, and second-generation quantum technologies, which include quantum computers. Once we understood the fine structure of light and matter, many new paths in understanding and engineering opened up. Yet these did not require the manipulation of individual atoms or photons to discover, nor did they need access to the fundamental constituents to exploit. Now we can control the world down to individual atoms. It's still quantum physics, but it provides us with more possibilities, most of which we probably don't even know about yet. Consider the following analogy. When you bake a cake, you start with a collection of individual ingredients: flour, sugar, eggs, etc. When we gain the ability to refine and perfect the quality of these ingredients, our culinary achievements evolve from avoiding starvation to celebrity bake-offs. But we can still only mix these ingredients together to form a general batter. This is similar to how quantum physics informed us of the constituents of matter, but we were limited to exploiting those in bulk quantities. Controlling individual atoms could allow us to design the world from scratch, producing things beyond our imagination and unrecognizable to an experience trained in a classical world. Although that is beginning to sound like hyped-up science fiction, our ability to manipulate the world at the most fundamental scale is better seen as the natural evolution of technological progress. But what will it evolve from? Until next time, keep questioning, keep learning, and keep pushing the boundaries of what we know.